Ian Lee, business analyst, Sprott Carleton University, joins us now. Ian, good evening and thanks for your time. This is a difficult day for the community. So many families affected with the weight of those U.S. tariffs, Ian.
You're absolutely right. And you know, when one goes outside of the big cities like Ottawa and Toronto, and I've certainly been to Thunder Bay and Sault Ste. Marie and some of the, I'll call them regional cities, they're often much more dependent on one or two large employers. I won't say they're one industry towns, but they're not as diversified as, you know, a Toronto or a Vancouver or an Ottawa with many different sectors, many different companies. And so the impact that this is going to have on that community and on the people there is going to be far reaching. It's not only affecting, of course, the 1,000 people that are being laid off, but there's a multiplier effect that's going to affect the small businesses, the mid-sized businesses, and the communities in the region.
Indeed. But the company received support, Ian, from both the feds and the provincial government. How is it that that fund, that sectoral aid, did not protect these jobs?
I did some research for this because I wanted to get to the bottom of this, Akshay. Right. They made a decision accelerated by the Trump tariffs. There's no question he's lurking in the background here. But the company made a decision in concert with the government of Canada and the government of Ontario to accelerate the transition from a traditional steelmaking production process to an electric arc process. And the company announced on its website in March of 2025 that it would lead to 1,000 fewer workers with this new electric arc and much greener technology. So the losses were going to come because of that switch to a cleaner and more efficient technology. Having said that, it was certainly accelerated up to a year sooner because of these the tariffs, these pernicious tariffs of 50%, which is just killing the demand for the steel of Algoma from the American market.
You know, Ian, I'm just curious, how often jobs lost in this way really come back for communities?
It depends. It really does depend on the industry. And I appreciate you asked that, because when you step back and look at the steel industry, the OECD outlook on steel for this year just came out a couple of months ago. They said it's pretty grim for 2025 and 2026. China is overproducing. They're dumping. There's some 15 actions around the world alleging Chinese dumping. They have something like 50% market share, and they subsidize up to 10 times as much as OECD countries. So yes, Trump is there. Let's not take it away from him, and the blame away from him. But the Chinese government is really distorting the world steel market by their excess production and their massive subsidization of steelmakers in China.
Ian, could I ask you about the fact that as we speak, there is no trade deal in sight with the U.S.? We heard what the Prime Minister had to say in regards to that just last week when he was overseas. How do you think this delay or this uncertainty continues to hurt our economy month over month?
I actually believe this is the biggest damage of all, because I keep saying this, you know, Akshay, many Canadians think, hey, we're an equal of the United States. No, we're not. We're less than 2.5 trillion. They're 32 trillion. I mean, they're just this massive colossus. And we absolutely, much as it may offend some people, we absolutely must have a trade deal with the U.S. And the uncertainty is just killing us. I mean, it's just businesses are putting their capital expenditure decisions on hold because they don't know whether there's going to be a deal, and if there is a deal, what will it look like? And uncertainty is one of the worst things for any business, especially when you're talking capital expenses of, you know, a $500 million expansion program or a $250 million expansion program. You're not going to make that long-term investment when you don't even know what the rules of the game are going to be going forward. And so this is hurting us, I think, more than anything else.
Ian Lee, business analyst, Sprott School of Business, Carleton University. Ian, thank you for your analysis.
My pleasure, Akshay. Thank you.